Professor of International Criminal Law at the University of Milan. She's also a legal representative for Gazans during the International Criminal Court's ongoing investigations into Israel's treatment of people living in the enclave. Chantal, thank you so much indeed for your time. Can I just ask you for your reflections that have happened since January, when the ICJ issued special measures to Israel and two specifically about how you think Israel may have complied, to refrain from acts that may contravene the Genocide Convention and to allow more humanitarian aid into Gaza. And I'm just asking you that as a basis for what might happen later.
Yes, indeed. We have seen since the 26th of January, when the court ordered the first set of provisional measures, that the situation has deteriorated further. This is now undisputable. There have been several reports by independent organizations like Human Rights Watch, but most importantly by various UN agencies that have documented how the situation in Gaza has deteriorated from different perspectives. Israel has not only not complied with the provisional measures by the ICJ in terms of the military offensive being more respectful of international humanitarian law, sparing civilians, making sure that the protected people, the children, the women, the elderly people are spared by the hostilities. Not only has not done it, it has actually, we have seen in the past weeks, intensified again its attacks and specifically on civilians. And in terms of humanitarian aid, especially now in the past week after the occupation, the takeover of the Gaza Rafah crossing and Kerem Shalom closing, there is absolutely no humanitarian aid that is flowing into the Gaza Strip, which was already in a very dire condition. So actually, even if the reports by Israel so far have not been made public, we can already conclude that they are not in compliance with the provisional measures, with the orders by the ICJ. And this is why I think there is a bigger expectation today at the ICJ that the judges will order something more or change the kind of provisional measures that we have seen so far.
We know that the final judgment about whether it's a genocide or not could well take years and years. But does the ICJ, or will the ICJ, consider the proportionality of Israel's response when it comes to what's happening in Rafah?
Yes, as you said, the final judgment about the merits of the case, whether Israel is indeed committing a genocide in Gaza, might take years, but there is already enough documentation in order to make some provisional conclusions. And this is what we have seen the 26th of January and then also on the 28th of March when there was a second set of provisional measures ordered. And it's not so much about the proportionality of the response, it's about the fact that the Genocide Convention, which protection, of course, is erga omnes, meaning it should be applied to everyone and in every context. So even during a war, the Genocide Convention applies, appears to have been violated by the Israeli in their operation in Gaza in several respects, because the whole way the military operation is conducted, and specifically now in Rafah, appears to be not only in contravention to international humanitarian law, so integrate possibly war crimes, but be also conducted with this specific intent, which is to destroy the group, the Palestinians in Gaza, the group as such. So this is the specificity of the Genocide Convention, and this is why South Africa had recourse to the ICJ urgently, because there is a risk of what is called an irreparable harm to the Palestinian as a group.
Yeah.
They risk to be victims of a genocide.
Okay, just finally, Chantal, and briefly, if you don't mind, what difference does it make? Is there any practical contribution that new countries want to join South Africa in this case that it's taken to the ICJ? We have Turkey, of course, Nicaragua, I believe, Colombia has also joined, Egypt has also joined. Is it just moral support for the people of Gaza, or is there a practical difference if more countries join the case?
Well, there might be practical consequences because, of course, every country that supports the legal case brought by South Africa is going to not only give a symbolic support, but also make legal arguments. I think it's very significant, of course, that Turkey decided to join, but in the last days, we have seen Egypt deciding to join, and specifically now with regard to the operations in Rafah and what Israel is doing with the Rafah crossing. This is going to be very important to hear the contribution by Egypt. So definitely there might be some legal arguments that will help the court in reaching a conclusion regarding this case. It's not only symbolic.
Chantal Meloni, I can't thank you enough. Really, really interesting to hear your analysis. Thank you.
Thank you very much.